Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai.
Just in ordinary perception in life, we cannot see the opposite. We are always hypnotized by one part. Right? Supposing, say somebody is a good businessman. So he knows that in good days, bad days can come. You understand? He has this inner vision of business, right? So in good days he won't expand so much that in bad days he has no money to see through himself. This much you understand, right? But a bad businessman, right? In good days he will expand so much that in bad days then he has no cash to go through, right? This much is clear. So most of us are only stuck with one side of life. We don't see the other side of life. Right? And when the other side comes to meet us, we suffer. You're clear on this point? Right? Supposing I'm going into a relationship. And when I go into a relationship, everything is very rosy. But I don't see the other side. Right? See, I had one case of one person who lives in Veraval. And he got married. And in 6 months, he separated from his wife. He could not take it any longer. Then there was a daughter born to the wife and he looked after the daughter. 20 years passed and it was a beautiful relationship. He looked after his daughter very well, gave her everything. Right? And she got married. And in 6 months she came back. The marriage broke. He comes to me and he's telling me that my daughter has not come back, my wife has come back. That she's exactly the opposite of the daughter I married. I got married. Can you understand? Now, you see, we only are attached to one side in life. And when the other side comes to meet us, we suffer. But that is, the fault was lied in our perception. We did not see the other side. If from the beginning we could see the other side, then we would never suffer. Is it clear now? Right? So if from the beginning I knew that my wife today is very loving, but tomorrow she can be very aggressive. Right? And today she is saying beautiful words, but tomorrow her words may be very sharp, which may, pierce through me and hurt me. Then I know that this is what she is, then I'm not going to suffer. You understand what I'm trying to say? And our vision is such that we see only one side. We don't see the duality of life. Life is dual. Dvait. It is dual. And every part of life has an opposite part. And because of this we don't see. The sea, it has a desire to take over all the land. But it doesn't see that the sand is going to stop it from taking over all the land. Winter wants to continue forever, but winter does not see that summer will come and I will have to go away. You get what I'm trying to say? So in life, everything is opposites. And the opposites are imbibed in that. It is not something separate. I cannot go to a temple and say, oh, please give me happiness. Because he is not allowed to give me happiness. He can give me happiness and pain together. But he cannot give only happiness. I don't know if I'm coming across. You get what I'm trying to say? The very fact that I'm asking for one side is not possible. That is my avidya, because of my my lower consciousness. This has to come together. And it is this perception of the duality of life, that in life everything is dual in nature. This is what the Shastra calls as Vivek. Vivek. That the inner perception has opened up. That now I don't see one, I always see two. Right? I don't see I am only right. I say I right, he also right. I see two together. And when I see two together, many things in me change automatically. Then I don't say what my guru has said is right and his guru has said is wrong. I say both are right. Then in life nothing is ever cut and dried. Suddenly life in all its shades is, one shade is merging into another shade. And I see this duality of life. That today days are good, but tomorrow days are bad. There is a time for sowing, there is a time for reaping, there is a time for harvest. The Bible. The Bible. The beautiful song, which song is it? The windmills of your mind. The windmills of your mind. We have so many windmills in our mind, they keep changing. We don't see this dual nature of life. And in jealousy is only one emotion in which we see duality for the first time. We feel duality. There's an inner feeling of duality that she has something which I don't have. There I see it is presence, and here I see the absence of presence. Can you see? Both. There's an inner, suddenly my perception has opened that you have something which I do not have. It could be a thing in the physical world. It could be something in the psychological world, some quality. Whatever it is. There is this inner vision has opened up, but I am using it in a negative way. Can I transform that energy and hold this vision? And in the transformation of that energy, my eyes will open. Now I'll see life as two all the time. The minute somebody says, I'm coming at 10 o'clock, I know inside he can be late. You understand? Each moment in life, then I see the dual nature of life. Now if he doesn't come on time, I'm not going to suffer. Because I've seen duality. Can you see? This feeling of duality, this sensing of duality, this vision of duality, that is what we call as conscience, real conscience, Vivek. Yeah, please.
So what you're actually saying is just stay with that emotion, have a pause, and allow a transformation.
Yes, don't go into daydreaming that I will get a better TV than you. Then I've wasted it. It's gone waste. You have to pause. Don't allow yourself to go in the past or future. I may go into the past that she promised me a TV 10 years ago, but she's not, come true on her promise. Don't go in the past, don't go in the future. Hold that feeling. You have, I do not have. And I'm holding both. And in that very holding, in that very observation, because observation is light. And in the presence of light, darkness cannot remain. Negativity is darkness. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? And that negativity will go. In the very perception it will go. And what will remain is this perception of two, which I did not have. I'll be a different person. That is why jealousy is one emotion which we can use very, very well. Now is it clear a little? Or not yet? Huh? Okay. Now, another question which, yeah, please, yeah.
We are talking and gaining understanding on an intellectual plane since yesterday.
Right.
Whether we compulsorily need to traverse this part to gain more understanding, or there is some way in which we get some experience wherein suddenly there's a flash of maybe number of clarities that we get on various issues. It's just a light, or it's just a strike that we get.
I'll take that. I'll just finish her question first. And then I'll take, because hers was related to jealousy. Then I'll take your question. Does the jealousy of other people affect us? Right? Definitely does. Now, can we live in such a way that we can't live completely that way, but we live in such a way that we are not the instrumental cause. I know jealousy is already lying in the subconscious mind. It is already lying there. But we do not become the instrumental cause for somebody else's jealousy. Now, if I am going to build a very flamboyant home, then I cannot say that the people who pass that home will not feel jealous. Is it possible? It's not possible. It's not possible. They are bound to feel jealous. Right? So, and I don't realize that on what level that jealousy is going to affect me. It is going to affect, because it is very powerful. It is like a spear which goes through. It goes through time and space. It is a very, very powerful vibration. And I don't realize that in building that very flamboyant home, to make another person jealous, I am committing a very deep form of hinsa, violence. Because I am instrumental in making somebody else jealous. Is this?
But his intention was not that.
His intention was hidden. He was not aware of his intention.
So it was always there.
It was always there.
So like I have no money and I make a big bungalow. But if people passing by would have jealousy, so my intention was never there that I have to make jealous and I'll make a bungalow.
Right. So what I'm telling you is that now when you make the bungalow, try to divide life into needs, comforts and luxuries. And try to balance it in such a harmonious way. Some people are going to feel jealous. But don't become an instrument of needless jealousy.
So the bungalow was not necessary.
Try to divide life, especially if you want to walk on the spiritual path. I'm not talking about man who's living in sleep. Right? But a man who wants to awaken from the sleep must divide his life into his needs, his comforts, his luxuries. Right? Up to comforts, everything is very good. And you may, as a hobby, keep 1 or 2 luxuries. Right?
Your whole life cannot be a luxury. Which could enjoy.
Lead a comfortable life. Lead a comfortable life. You see, we don't realize so many things. So many things we take for dead are really living. You understand what I'm trying to say? We are digressing, but I'll just finish it. Beautiful book which Tawariya Sahib has written, The Purpose of Birth and Death. And there he, explains how the 3 forces are born. Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. I'm not going into them. We won't go into them. But that Sattva which was born comes from a very, very high source, even though it was born after Rajas and Tamas. It is the 3rd in line. First came Rajas, then came Tamas, but Sattva was already there. Sat, he was already there. Sat, to be, his being was already there. You understand what I mean? That Sattva has descended from that very high level, and at each stage it is descending, but still it is that. Is that clear what I'm trying to say? Sat. In that Sattva is the quality, and in that quality is that which I'm looking for. It's being, hovu. Sat etle hovu, to be. You understand what I'm trying to say? And it has descended to the most crudest level. And the most crude level of that is money. Of Sat. I won't use the word crude, it's a wrong word to use, gross level. I won't, excuse me, we'll cancel the word crude, but we'll use the word gross. The most gross level of that Sat, we call it as Sat, Chit and Anand. Ne? We call that truth, that consciousness, we give it 3 qualities, Sat, Chit and Anand. No? So the most gross level of that Sat is money. You understand what I'm trying to say? Now what is my relationship to money? And that has to be a very conscious relationship. How do I, because I'm relating to that. Can you understand? But I say my money, then I'm raping that. I have earned this money, I'm raping that. Am I coming across in this? Can you see? And money does not like to be stationary, it always wants to flow. It has this inner desire to flow. We take it as just a piece of paper because we can't see anything else. I go home and I take my wallet and I just throw it on the bed like this. But I don't realize it is that in its grossest form. Now, if I treat money in this way, I am going to invite negativity. It is a she, it is not a he. It is a she, it is a quality of that. Can you see what I'm trying to, and I'm going to invite negativity. Right? And so there is a right relationship to money. And if I want to walk on the spiritual path, there must be a right relationship to money. I was with Ramdulare Bapu. He had such a beautiful relationship with money. Such a beautiful relationship with money. And when he was even counting 1 rupee bills, the love with which he would count it. Not lobh, not greed. Please understand, when I am saying love, I am not saying greed. When we count it with greed. He used to count it with a divine kind of love. The way he used to touch money, the way he used to keep money, and the way he would allow it to flow. If minute he found that it would be used in the right way, he would start letting the money flow. And I've seen that rule that if you let 1 rupee flow, 10 rupees come back. This is the law. But we want to hold on. And when we hold on, things become ugly. So trust, see what is your relationship with money. Don't treat money as something which is just a material. Treat it with a kind of love, a kind of respect. And what is one way of doing it? You know, Tawarya Sahib, after he left, in his will it was written that whatever has come to me in this life, I have not taken as my own. It all came from some central bank. For some time I was instrumental in using it. I did not own the money. I was a trustee of that money. Can you understand the difference? So, when we use money wrongly, people are going to be jealous. It is a part of the game. It's a part of the game. And it is our attitude to money which has made somebody else jealous. And if we really want to rise to that level of consciousness, try to live a life where you make the least people jealous. You cannot be free of it. And that is why I said divide your life into needs, comforts and luxuries. Enjoy life. When we talk of the instinctive center, life is to enjoy. Enjoy each moment of life. But don't indulge. There's a difference between enjoyment and indulgence. Right? Have we cleared the jealousy part? Right? Okay. Your question, can you please repeat it? Like I said, I'm growing old again. Is there a way to bypass all this?
We have been gaining a lot of understanding, clarity to various aspects.
Right.
And I believe all this is on the intellectual plane we are trying to. And there are, I believe, many aspects to understanding which will go a long way. So is there a technique of realization wherein lots of understanding comes at one go, automatically, instead of traversing this intellectual plane? I'm not saying it will be a total substitute to the intellectual plane.
Okay, I'm going to take the centers later on, but I'll just explain some things to you, just before I go into it. Agam is the words of the enlightened ones, what they have left behind, right? All this is not mine, right? It has come from some conscious source, right? So it is their words which I'm sharing with you, right? What you're saying, I'm catching something of it, but I'll just try to go a little ahead and then we'll go to the centers later. Because this is a very important thing, very, very important thing, and many people misunderstand this, so it's a good thing you asked about it. Now, when we go into the centers, we will see different centers, but I'm just going ahead that there are two higher centers. They are called the higher emotion higher intellect. Then we'll see there are different centers, and there is the most important center is the emotional center. Each center we will again divide into a positive and negative part. Now, where the emotional center is concerned, unless this negative part of the emotional center is completely destroyed, these cannot open up. These cannot open up. You understand what I'm trying to say? This higher cannot open up unless the negative part of the emotional center is totally, that negative part is lying in my subconscious, unconscious mind, and it will only come out bit by bit in relationship. There is no other way, absolutely no other way. Be very clear on this point. In my normal relationships, bit by bit, this negative part will start manifesting. I will observe it and be free of it. As I am getting free of it, these parts will start opening. Okay. Now, is there a way of experiencing something without doing all this? Is that your question, no? No, there is not. Very emphatically. But many people have all kinds of spiritual experiences. Right? Somebody goes into meditation, they rise to some higher thing. Somebody does some dancing, they feel some glimpse of love. Somebody does this, somebody is doing that. And somebody is in the Himalayas. And you read all these in, in books. And there are so many of these spiritual fiction books around, right? And people are so captivated by all these experiences. All those experiences are happening in the instinctive center. These higher centers have not opened up. In the instinctive center, I can make you experience samadhi right now. But once you do that, the higher will never open up. All Shakti path is in the instinctive center. Somebody giving energy, somebody opening this chakra, opening that chakra. It has nothing to do with spirituality. I call it chakra nonsense. Right? Yes, the experience is there, and when we study the instinctive center, I hope by this evening at least I can take the instinctive center. We will see that the instinctive center has 3 parts, and in the higher part of the instinctive center, I can have all kinds of spiritual experiences. But the higher emotion and higher intellect have not opened. The negative part of the emotional center has not died. I will go into my meditation, have a big experience, I'll come out and I'll get angry on her. Nothing has changed with all those experiences. Right? So, now you understood? Okay, now I'll answer the second part of your question. There are techniques of having samadhi this instant. There are very, very set techniques, secret techniques of different kinds of yoga, doing the breathing in such a way, closing the windpipe in a certain way, where you move into samadhi this moment. But I experience samadhi, I'll come out, but in the same negativity with my wife, nothing is going to change. Nothing has changed. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Right? I may go and do some some sounds for my this chakra, that chakra, God knows what. People come to me with all Reiki and this and that, and they've done all kinds of things. But has your normal relationship changed? Why are you messing around with all these occult things when you have no understanding of them? Absolutely. Not does the guru does not have, and the disciples. It's a mess. It's a big mess out there. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Now, the second part. Okay, do we have to intellectually understand all this? Very true, we have to. We have to. We first understand all this intellectually, and then we start implementing it. Without intellectual understanding, we cannot implement. That does not mean we have really understood it. Is there a way to bypass the intellectual? In the old days, there was. In the old days, there was. No longer true. No longer true. The brain has changed. The human brain has changed. The human thought has changed. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? In the last 50 years, human thought has changed so much it has not happened in the last 5,000 years. Today's brain cannot do bhakti. It is outmoded. You understand? It is outmoded. It's finished. Its value has gone. When they are doing bhakti, all they are doing is imagination. Whether they are doing in temple, whether they are singing bhajan, whether they are doing kirtan, it is all imagination. And if they get some feeling of love or something, it is again in the instinctive center. Today's brain cannot do bhakti. Today's brain cannot do hatha yoga and realize. It has to first intellectually, scientifically understand where it wants to go. It has to compartmentalize everything. And if it is not willing to do this, but Meera got it through bhakti and this one got it through bhakti, it is just a form of intellectual laziness. It is not possible. The brain has changed. Can you understand? And this is very apparent many years ago when I was in one Jain Tirth. The head sadhvi of that Tirth, she's asking me a question, how do I know whether my path is of Gyan or Bhakti? I said, the very question you've asked is of Gyan, forget the Bhakti. If you knew it was of Bhakti, you wouldn't have asked this question. It's not possible. It's not possible. Right? So now the brain has to understand everything in a scientific way. And it's very good. Because now the person who will realize, it will be a more harmonious realizing. Because now the realization which will come out of a science. The old days, the realization, there was no science. So they have put bits and pieces and things. Now it will come out of a science. So the new realized person will be a totally different person, where everything is working in total harmony. In the old days, everything was not in harmony. Right? You see a group of swans going, you go into samadhi. It's very good. But there is definitely something is in imbalance. Why should swans throw you into samadhi? You get what I'm trying to say? So, the new person, the one who will now he'll go through the mind, he'll understand each of these. He'll make use of Hatha Yoga. He'll understand what the science of Karma Yoga. At the same time, he will be doing Karma Yoga. Now there will be not one yoga. He will understand what is Bhakti, and in his normal relationships there will be Bhakti. Then he will not need an idol and he'll do puja of that idol. It will be a totally different man. In his understanding will be intellect, Raj Yoga. In his actions will be Karma Yoga. And in his relationships will be bhakti yoga. This is a harmonious man. He will not reach through one of the paths. He'll reach through all the paths together. And that will be a harmonious blending. And that is because he understands. He understands the science behind each path, whether it is bhakti or karma. Am I coming across in this? And for that you have to first intellectually understand. Vivek. Seeing two. You know what's the emotional center was created for perception, not for feeling. Yeah, so sometimes pride and vanity move together. I gave the example of a car. So if I bought a new car or if I'm wearing new shoes, then pride may, feel a little bit of what do you call sharam in English? Shame. That people will see me. But vanity would like to show them off. Now if pride can move with vanity or it can move against vanity. Okay, it can move, let's show them off. Right? You get what I'm trying to say? Now one thing in vanity, there can be laziness, which is never there in pride. In the sense that I may not be studying for an exam, but I tell everybody I'm studying all the time. I create that image, that I'm studying. That is vanity. Right? But in pride, the conscience will hurt a little, that why am I saying an untruth? Right? But in vanity, there will be no conscience. You get it? So sometimes pride will move with vanity and sometimes pride will move against vanity. We have to separate the two. Vanity has to be killed and pride transformed. Ne? Right. Okay, we'll go into the centers. Now, the first thing is divided attention, and we want to observe ourselves. And there are two paths of self-observation. One is what we call observation of eyes, which I'm not going to take this time. And one is observation of functions, which I'm going to start now. Now, all functions come with essence. Essence, can you tell me which functions come with the essence? What functions come with the essence? The Gurdjieff group? Which functions come with the essence? So breathing will be what?
It's a function of our...
No, but what will it be? Instinctive. Okay? So what comes with the essence? Instinctive function. What else comes with the essence? Huh? Pardon? Emotions, right? Emotions, the feeling. What else? What else? Huh? What are the functions which are embedded in the essence? The essence is taking birth, right? Still a name has not come to that child. But with that child, by his being birth, he comes with certain inbuilt functions. Certain inbuilt functions. So one is the instinctive function. When the child takes milk from the mother, he does not have to be taught how to digest the milk. It is an inbuilt function. We are going to go a little deeper into this. Feeling. He has a function that he can feel. He can feel. What other function does he have? He can? Movement. Actually, movement should come in between. Oh. Movement and instinctive. What else?
Understanding.
Say it another way. Say it another way. No. Sex we'll take later. We're not going to take sex this time. So I'm just not taking that part. There is a sex center, but we won't take that this time. Yeah, but say it in another way. Intelligence, understanding. There is a thinking function. There is a feeling function. There is a moving function. And there is a instinctive function. Is this clear to everyone? The baby is born with all this. Are any of these functions programmed at birth? Are any of these functions programmed at birth? Come on, he's drinking the milk of the mother. He doesn't have to be programmed how to digest the milk. So which function is programmed? Instinctive. This comes pre-programmed. The instinctive function comes pre-programmed. We can see this in nature. How do we see it in nature? How do we see it in nature? Yeah? Like a bird does not teach her children how to build a nest. It is already programmed. Right? Of course, in man, some of the instinctive functions remain for some time. So, we have to look after our children for a few years. Right. But the other functions are totally no programming. No programming. Now, let's go a little. Yeah.
What's the difference between movement and instinctive?
What is the difference between movement?
Just now you're moving your hand is movement, right? But you're digesting your food is instinctive. When you're controlling your breathing, it is movement. But when you're not aware of your breathing, it is the only function which is both moving also and instinctive also, right? So all the body functions are instinctive. Instinctive. Ne? Got it? You can't control your digestion. You can't say hydrochloric acid stop. Right? You can't control your digestion. Of course, there may be yoga techniques. But right? Okay. But the moving function. The moving is separate from this thing. Right? Okay. Now, how will this move into personality?
If you acquire more knowledge, gradually.
Right? So, when I am born, I come with a function that I am able to think. What I think and what I fill into my thinking center is a part of my acquired side. It is not a part of my essential side. How I program my thinking center is a part of my acquired side. But I come with the capacity to think is a part of my essential side. Is this clear to everyone? Right? Similarly, feeling. What do I feel for? Some things I like and some things I dislike. Some kind of clothes I like, some kind of clothes I dislike, some kind of music I like, some kind of music I dislike. Right? All that is what I fill into it is the acquired side. It is not the essential side. The essential side is the function of feeling. The feeling. And the function of movement. The function of movement. How I program it. Somebody may become a very good sportsman. So he has programmed the moving in a different way. And I may not like to walk for 5 minutes. Right? I program the moving in a different way. Can you see this? That we come with these essential functions, right? And these functions are then programmed in life. That programming is called as personality. It's clear? Okay. Now, why do we want to study this? Why do we want to study this? Why do we want to study this? What is the aim? What is our aim? First of all, let's go back to our aim. Our aim is to rise in consciousness. Okay. Now, why do we want to study this? Why do we want to study it? Right, but what is it we want to correct? What is it we want to correct? Our aim is to increase our consciousness. This is our aim. For that we are studying this. What is it in this that tells, what does it tell us about consciousness? What? No, that is true, but what does it say about consciousness?
We can get access to a higher emotions.
Yeah, that is okay. Try to bring in consciousness, yeah.
Currently, I have been bound to a personality. Like I'm.
Okay, when a child is born, he has these functions. Where is consciousness?
Making the essence stronger.
Where is consciousness? Where he is born now, and nothing is as yet programmed. Nothing is as yet programmed, except the instinctive. We forget that. Now, we want to, where at that point is consciousness? In which way? With Sushupt, with what? With what? With? With the functions. With the functions. These functions, consciousness is intermingled with these functions. And the whole of sadhana is using the function in such a way that we extract consciousness. When a child is born, his consciousness is mixed with his function. When I am thinking, I am not observing my thinking. Consciousness is mixed with the process of thinking. Can you understand now what I am trying to say? When I am feeling, consciousness is mixed with the function of feeling. Is this clear to everyone? When I am moving, consciousness is mixed with the function of moving. Now, I want to extract consciousness. So, I use the function of thinking and I start extracting consciousness from that. I use the function of feeling and I start extracting consciousness from that.
Attention.
Huh?
Attention. That was.
I use it in a certain way with attention. We have not yet come to attention. We have not yet come to attention. Right? But the key is attention. The key is attention. Very true. Is this clear to everyone what I'm trying to say? Because the child is born, these functions are inbuilt. He comes with the centers. Please do not mix the centers with chakras. Otherwise you will create a fiction. Right? Don't mix it. Right? He comes with these inbuilt capacities. Right? And it is programmed, and most of the programming is done in such a way that nobody extracts any of the consciousness. Life goes by. Life gets over. We do everything in life, but that aim for what we came was to extract consciousness from these functions. In his book, Purpose of Birth and Death, Tavariya Sahib, he relates a cosmology, and he has taken the cosmology of the Gayatri Mantra and he has tried to explain that cosmology of the Gayatri Mantra in a very, very scientific way. He's done a wonderful job of. Right. What is the cosmology of the Gayatri Mantra? Can someone tell me what is the cosmology of the Gayatri Mantra? Bhu Bhuva Swaha. Then Mahajana Tapa Satyam. 7. Right? Bhu Bhuva Swaha Mahajana Tapa Satyam. I don't want to go into this cosmology at this time. What each of these mean. But there are two sets of three. Two sets of three. Right? The first set of three is Satyam, Tapa, Jana. Right? Jana means to be born, Tapa means to burn, and Satyam means truth. Right? To burn. Austerity. 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 Okay. Now, he says that there are two worlds. This is the world of creation. And where we are living, he calls the bubble the world of existence. And this copied itself in this world. How did it copy itself as? Bhu Bhuva Swaha. What can we sort of surmise from this? What is happening? There's a replication of what? Of 3. There's a replication of 3. The whole universe was built out of a replication through 3 forces. Right? So in the Bible they say, as above, so below. In the Shastra they say, pindo se Brahman. How is that replicated in the human form? How is that replicated in the human form? No, in the human form. In the human form. Man is a Man is a three-storied being. He's a three-storied being. There is a lower story, there is a middle story, there is an upper story. Right? He's a three-storied being. Right? And in each of these stories there are different brains or different minds. Here there is the thinking, and higher thinking, we'll forget it, emotional, or sorry, I'll use the word feeling. Feeling. And here is moving, instinctive, and sex. These are in the lower story. This is in the middle story. This is in the upper story. Can you see this? So, does this make our process of self-observation easier? Where am I right now? Am I thinking, feeling, or moving? Have we moved on the process of self-observation? Can you see what we are trying to get at? Can we see? We are now trying to move inside, and we are going to divide this self-observation into two parts. One part we are going to call mind, and one part we are going to call I. I and the mind. And this time we are not going to talk about I, we are going to talk about mind. And if with God's grace we are going to meet again, we will talk about I. Right? Okay. This is very, very fascinating. Very, very fascinating because it is 3 this way and it is 3 this way. There is a horizontal 3, there is a vertical 3. Christ died on the cross. The symbol of the cross. There is a horizontal 3, there is a vertical 3. But just this moment, try to observe yourself. Observe yourself. Where am I in my thinking?
Thinking mode.
Where am I in my thinking? Where am I in my feeling? Supposing you're feeling bored just now. Then in the feeling, I am feeling bored. But in thinking, I'm trying to hold my attention. And moving the chair is, I'm moving my, and the chair is feeling a little instinctive, the chair is feeling a little rough. Right? Can you get what I'm trying to say? Where am I? So this is the basis of self-observation. This is the basis of self-observation. That we are now observing. It gives us some inner food for observation. Where am I? Am I in thinking? Am I in feeling? Am I in sensing? Or am I in moving? We'll take out the word instinctive and we'll write the word sensing. And we'll cancel sex because we are not going to talk about sex. Right? Where am I this moment? And our attention has to go in. And we've started the journey. Now what does this tell us about mind? What does this tell us about mind?
It is different compartments.
Different compartments. We don't have one mind. We have many minds. And we live under an illusion that we have one mind. But we have many minds. Each mind, when we'll go deeper into it, we will see it works with a different petrol. It moves at a different speed. It has a totally different function. It's like I'm living in a flat, and in the flat there is one Indian, one Chinese, one American, one Russian, all living together. All living together, right? And each one does not understand the other's language. And each one doesn't eat the other person's food, right? But we all have one common refrigerator, one common bathroom. We have to live together. We have to live together. Let's take this in another way. Is this coming across? It's a very important part of our self-observation, that I am not one mind, I am many minds. And which mind is working at this moment? Which mind is my center of gravity in this moment? Where am I identified this moment? Right. Now, let's take this in another way. That we are living in a room with 4 windows. With 4 windows. Right? But we are habituated to look out of one window. Of course, maybe I'm habituated to look out of the thinking window. My center of gravity is in thinking. Right? So I'm looking out of this window and I see what a beautiful sunny day it is. But then I get married and my wife is habituated by looking out of the feeling window. I don't look out of that window. Even though it's in the same home, I don't look out of that window. And she says, oh, it's cloudy today, it's going to rain. And we are going to fight. Right? We are looking out of separate windows. We don't know. We don't know. So, everybody's center of gravity will be in one of the windows. That means most of the time in their life they will be looking out of that window. A person may be center of gravity in the thinking part, in the thinking mind, right? So he thinks everything in life, and he keeps thinking everything. And you may see all books lined up in his home, and right, the thinking mind. Somebody is in the feeling mind. He or she loves to relate to people, loves to go to kitty parties, loves to talk, loves to gossip, etc. The feeling mind loves to, feed other people, etc., etc. So center of gravity is in the feeling mind. Somebody is in the moving mind. Where's my friend over there? Keshav. Right? He can't sit in one place for one moment. If he'll ask a question from this chair and when you go to answer, he'll be sitting in that chair. The moving mind. Right? The whole day he has to do something. The whole day they can't sit. They can't sit. The center of gravity is in the moving mind. There must be something to do all the time. And somebody's center of gravity could be in the sensing mind. They love life. They love good food. They love to drink. They love to go to parties, etc. Right? What does all this tell us about consciousness? What does all this tell us about consciousness? Is the person in the thinking more conscious than the one in feeling? Or is the one in feeling more conscious than the one in moving? Or is it they're all in a straight line? All in a straight line. All in a straight line. The thinking fellow may feel that he is more superior to the feeling person, but they are all in a straight line. Right? The level of consciousness is the same. The consciousness is identified with their function. Whether the function is thinking, feeling, moving. The consciousness is not separated. Is this clear to everyone? Right? Okay. Now, I'm just going to put up one last thing, then we'll go deeper into it in the afternoon. He said the key. So the key is attention. The key is attention. How many kinds of attention? Which are the two types?
Directed and direct.
Directed attention. Attracted. Can we add one more type? Can we add one more type? Huh? No, that is a different. We will keep. We will not yet come to divided attention. Huh? One more type. I'm driving my car, but I'm daydreaming somewhere else. I'm driving my car and I'm daydreaming somewhere else. Which attention is that? Distracted, we will call it as zero attention. Of course, it is not zero. There is some kind of awareness of who is crossing the street, but we will call it as zero attention. So, for our basic understanding, we will divide attention into three parts: directed attention, attracted attention, zero attention. Anybody who has read Tavaria Sahib's literature, what does he call this? He has made a revolutionary study on this. I mean, it's so different from what anyone else has ever said. What does he call this? These three levels of attention, what does he call? Who has studied the discourses, purpose of birth and death, the Yoga Sutra? He calls this as I-E-S.
It's actually emotional section. And moving force and
Hang on. You better change your chair. Right. Yes, he gives the name centers, he's not talking about centers. And that is where he's fooled all of us. Anyway, I won't go into that because otherwise I'm going to get very complicated. Right. Okay, now what does this mean with attention and we have the centers? Attention and we have the centers. We have divided attention into three parts. A lower one where there is zero attention, attracted attention, directed attention. We talked about this yesterday. What does it mean? What does it mean? Combine it with the centers. Combine it with the center. Each center I can be with any of the three attentions. In each center I can be with any of the three attentions. This is clear to everyone. In the thinking center I can be with directed attention. I can be with attracted attention. I can be with nearly zero attention. I'm just reading but nothing is registering. It's clear. It's happened. Happened, right? When the time comes when you're reading for the exam, it just goes on, right? Nothing is registering, right? So, In each center, I can be with any of these three forms of attention. Later on, we are going to divide attention into 10 parts, but we are not going to take it this time. Okay. What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean?
With awareness, you can change your quality of attention.
Just relate this to the centers. Relate this to the centers. We will have to again, supposing we have the thinking center, we will have to divide the thinking center into 3. Again the 3 has come. When we are in this part, we will be in directed attention. When we are in this part, we will be in attracted attention. And when we are in this part, we will be with zero attention. We will call it moving attention. Right? So, each center will have an intellectual part, an emotional part, and a moving part, moving instinctive part. Where am I in which center? So, whichever center I am I in which form of attention? Then I am in that part of that center. I am in that part of that center. Right? So, we will call the attracted as emotional, zero attention as mechanical or moving, and directed attention as intellectual. Right? Still, we have not talked of consciousness. Consciousness is different. Now, supposing we were to take the centers as having a superficial part, a middle part, and a deeper part, or a lower part, a middle part, and a higher part. In each center, we would be in the higher part when we are in directed attention. Whenever we are in attracted attention, we are in the middle part, and whenever we are in moving zero attention, we are in the moving part of that center. Right? So, we can be in a superficial part of a center, we can be in a middle part of the center, we can be in a higher part of the center. Centers will have higher and lower parts. Right? This, I would like to divide this into 3 more, but I am not going to do it this time. I am not going to do it this time. We are going to go just into this to have some glimpse of when we move in, what do we see, right? And later on when we meet the next time, we will take a shorthand system of how to recognize. And that shorthand system we will use the deck of cards. Now, before going any further, each center, what would be the basic division of each center? The positive and negative. So, we can be in directed attention in positive part or in negative part. We can be in attracted attention in positive part or negative part. Is this clear to everyone? It's a very, very fascinating subject. Very, very fascinating subjects. And it's a totally different way to understand the human mind. And it's come from a very, very higher source. This. So, supposing we were to take the pack of cards. Which cards have 2 parts? All of them. All of them. But which have 2 faces? Jack, Queen, King. Jack, Queen, King. Right? Jack, Queen, King. So Jack will be the moving part, Queen will be the emotional part, and King will be the intellectual part. King is directed attention, Queen is Attracted attention, Jack is zero attention, the moving part, mechanical part of each center. Right? And aces will represent all the centers. Moving represented by spades. Instinct represented by clubs. Of course, emotion is very easy. Hearts, and thinking by diamonds. Right? So the ace represents the whole center. Jack, Queen, King represents the three parts of the centers. We will not take the other cards, but they represent the divisions in the divisions of the centers. I'll just give it to you, just for an outline, so we finish this talk. Supposing this is the intellectual center, so this will be the King of Diamonds, Queen of Diamonds, Jack of Diamonds. Now within the Jack of Diamonds there will be three parts. Right? The moving part, the emotional part, the intellectual part. The moving part will be which card? 2. This will be 3. And this will be 4. Again, in the emotional part of the intellectual center, the Queen, there will be 3 parts. Which cards will that be? 5, 6, 7. And in the directed attention, there will be 3 cards, 8, 9, 10. And once we've got this, this is like when we go to school. We go to school, we have to learn tables. I hate to learn tables. Tables. Right? And then any time in our life, if somebody asks us, 12 12s are 144. Right? We learnt it. For any inner movement, self-observation, these are the tables. Even though you hate it, you'll have to do it. Otherwise, all the self-observation will go unscientific. And this is very, very important. So I'm going to give you a small outline this time. You will have to work on it, and it has to get ingrained. Please do not use it negatively, because in many of the Gurdjieff groups, they start using it negatively. Oh, this guy is 2 of clubs. Right? Okay. So don't use it negatively. Don't use it negatively. Use it for self-observation. These are very, very handy tools, right? But we have to make that initial effort to grasp them. Right? I'll stop over here. Thank you.